Welcome to the Cram Jam Hour, episode 1. That was a good crack. Did you guys hear that?
I actually like that.
That was good. That felt good.
Toasty.
Thanks, man. My name is Eli. I'm a photographer.
My name is Aaron. I'm a hip-hop music producer.
My name is Ethan. I'm a music producer and screenwriter.
My name is Dustin. I play guitar.
What's up, guys? My name is Joseph. You know, I'm a singer. I'd be doing that stuff.
You know, I really like how between like the 4 different takes that we've had, Ethan updated his title to screenwriter as well.
Because I do write screenplays.
I
write
love
screenplays.
that. No.
He achieved a different level.
No,
I
I'm
was
not calling them out. I like that.
Yeah, I was like, well, I do this, and I was mentioning it. It's like, I don't know why I just don't.
Yeah, just say it.
Well, basically, in the
Put it out into the universe.
the amount of time it took us to put this all together, he might as well just got a degree.
Yeah. God, I
I
can't.
think I've pretty much written a script between us.
You've written multiple. I remember over spring break you had a few that I read.
Yeah, over spring break I have like 2 scripts I finished.
Yeah.
They're not good by any means.
No, they're terrible.
But it's a start. Wow. It's a start.
No.
I mean, everyone starts somewhere.
It's a grounding.
No. Ethan knows how I feel about them.
Yeah.
And I'm helping him.
They're hot garbage.
Yeah.
Pretty
Even my
bad.
first beats are whack. I mean,
yeah.
everyone's starts off.
You know, I tweeted out today actually. It's funny that we're talking about that. I was looking at, I was at this restaurant and I'm just like, I was about to pick you up, but then I realized I'm not gonna sit there for 3 hours. So I was eating lunch and I was doing some photography work, and I looked at my earliest pictures in my folder. It was of like Chloe and shit, and then I did a picture of you two at that wash, and they're terrible. The pictures are.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
The by like Red Rock.
Mm-hmm. There's that little flood channel
The
thing.
steps.
Oh!
We were
Yeah.
listening to like Spanish music or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
And
Cuban music.
yeah, and I remember I was looking at that and I'm like, wow, it's terrible. And I looked at the pictures we did recently in Santa Monica, and they're like,
Improvement.
they're so much better.
Yeah.
Gross.
I'm actually, because I saw Midsommar and I saw
still haven't seen it yet.
Once
Don't
Upon a
spoil
Time
it.
in Hollywood. So
Is that good? I haven't seen it yet.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's amazing.
How'd you like Midsommar?
It's probably one of my favorites. It's
a
one of my favorite
It's a
Quentins.
Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, I watched
one of my
Inglourious
favorite
Bastards today
Tarantinos.
before this. That's a great movie.
I
I
mean,
really
he
enjoy
just
that.
makes Tarantino with Leonardo DiCaprio.
It's gonna turn out good.
It's
Yeah,
like
Brad Pitt.
It's honestly, it's like in the
who's
top
the
3.
female lead in the movie?
Margot Robbie.
Margot
my
Robbie.
wife.
That's just,
Oh
I
my
mean,
god, I
that's just
love her.
fucking
It was really
quadruple threat
cool.
right there.
Yeah, I love everything she's been in.
It's
I think
honestly
she's such a good actress.
Yeah, like The Wolf of Wall Street was like
A good
crazy
performance.
movie.
She was the best part of Suicide Squad.
Definitely.
I
Besides
thought-
Will Smith.
an
Will Smith is
otherwise
pretty good.
unredeemable film.
Yeah, well, hey, Will Smith is pretty good. I liked Captain Boomerang. He was fun.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
He had a stuffed
That's
unicorn.
exactly that's why we're
Sounds
asking
like a
who.
Captain like underpants type thing.
It is honestly.
It is?
Yeah, I think it is.
Except he's just a bad guy.
But he's a bad guy.
And
He
he's
uses.
Australian.
Yeah.
It's just,
Who was he played by? He was played by
You
some
didn't
little
have to say
famous
bad
dude.
guy. You could have just an Australian.
They're all the same.
Oh, that's racist.
God.
But historically
Jay
correct.
something, I don't know.
Wait,
Yeah.
Go on.
Anyways, but yeah, no, I like saw that, so I've been like working on a few screenplays that I'm hoping to finish, and actually I'm planning on sending them into South by Southwest, and
Oh, really?
South
yeah,
by
South by
Southwest has
Southwest.
events like that?
They do.
Yeah,
South by
Southwest.
Southwest is
No,
actually one of the
so-
biggest. Has one of the biggest screenwriting competitions.
Yeah,
right
South by. There's 2 festivals in Austin that are really big. It's Austin City Limits and South by Southwest. And South by Southwest is more of like the general art with some music. It's like it takes over the entire city. Then Austin City Limits is kind of like Life is Beautiful. It's a contained park.
My
Bless you.
my uncle and aunt, they
sorry.
live like right by
it's-
Austin, and they were talking about how like last time they were like downtown during South by Southwest, they like saw Ethan Hawke just walking.
Yeah, no, that's
'Cause he was
super
there for one of his
big. They have
films.
like debates, like
Ethan
political
Hawke's so
debates. They're pretty insane. South by Southwest is great.
Wait, what'd you say about Ethan Hawke?
Ethan Hawke is dope, man.
He is.
Yeah, he
Like
is.
his
He's
performance,
underrated.
He was in Training Day, right?
Yeah.
That movie plus Ethan Hawke plus Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Really good.
Great movie.
But yeah, I mean, like I'm submitting stuff to that, and like, cause that's like a really, really good. That's like honestly, that's like one of the best ways to get picked up as a screenwriter is you just send in your stuff so often that they just see your name and recognize it.
So over spring break you cranked out like the ending of those 2 scripts. How'd you just sit down? Like, what was your creative process? Because like when I was in spring break, I was trying to get so many. I was at this hotel in Costa Rica,
Right.
and it was like the hotel was like right there, and then the jungle was right there, and there was this bridge that kind of led to it, and I wanted to get a dope shot, but I just couldn't actually sit down and do it. Like, how did you just sit down and be like, I'm gonna finish this today?
Honestly, it was like a lot of it was like I wasn't really busy over spring break because you were out of town, so it was like you're like the only person that was hanging out with around that time, anyways. But like honestly, it's like that sounds so lonely. But no, but like so, it was just sort of one of those things where I had been working on the script, and I start. I mean, like, the only reason I know I can actually write the script into a film is when I can, like, see, like, a scene, like, a cohesive scene, not just, like, B-roll, but, like, cohesive. And, it was a Western I was writing, and I kept having this, like, there's just this, like, visualized scene I just, like, had in my head. And so it was like, and I really wanted to write it. Like people get excited about, like, you get excited about taking a photo, and like for me, it's like when I'm doing music or when I'm doing like screenwriting, it's like I get really, really excited for like a moment that I can write about or a moment that I can like produce music wise, you know. And so for me, it was like getting to that moment was like what was keeping me going. You know,
was that
like,
the entirety of spring break, or was it just like, did you do that in like a day?
It took 3 days, I think. It was a 120-page script, and it took.
You cranked that on in 3 days, man.
No, I had like 20 pages done, so I cranked about 100 pages in 3 days.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Awesome.
It's really not a cohesive.
Work.
I like went back and like realized how uncohesive it was.
To be fair, I was on a bunch of pina coladas, and it read really nicely.
Right.
So if they're all drunk and stuff, then it sounds really good, and you did a really good script.
I just have to bank on the
like,
theater selling alcohol.
So if you basically made Citizen Kane for drunk people, and it was amazing.
They just can't get in if you're
under
alcohol.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're,
The first 21 plus film.
No, I'm pretty sure they have that already.
Yeah, I think Clockwork Orange was 21 plus.
Was it?
Yeah, it was X-rated.
Oh.
But that's besides the point.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, my creative process was was watching a lot of Sergio Leone. You know, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Watched,
that's right. That was like your
Shane.
kind of Western style script, huh?
Yeah, watching stuff like Shane, and I just felt like a lot of westerns like recently, you know, like the few that there have been. I just feel like they sort of like lost the charm of what like Sergio Leone had, where it was like very, very genuine. So what I ended up doing was it was just really to get to this like last scene, which was honestly, and I listened to a lot of the Ennio Morricone as well.
Yeah.
But like when I'm writing a script, I start with a.
Explain the Ennio Morricone.
So Ennio Morricone did a lot of like the spaghetti western soundtracks back then.
I'm really not familiar with westerns.
If
to be
you
honest.
know like the Good, Bad, the Ugly has the he's the dude who wrote that.
Okay.
Basically.
That's the
Yeah.
Modelo theme song, actually.
Huh, that's me.
Yeah. That's him.
Respect that. Respect.
We are not drinking Modelo, everybody. All right.
We have
Pat.
visual.
You can see it. But if they want to sponsor us,
but any
I will
sponsors
lie
we
and
won't
say
turn
that I've
down.
drank Modelo before because I can't drink Modelo
I
yet.
think we have a good chance
Exactly.
of getting sponsored as a group of like 18-year-olds, right?
Yeah,
Right,
no,
totally.
absolutely.
But yeah, like in order to like write scripts, I just kind of sit down and honestly, like there's this one script I'm writing right now it deals with like Alzheimer's and stuff, and it's like there's this piece of music from the soundtrack. It was a French movie, and I can't actually pronounce the artist's name, but or the composer's name, but it's just this one track that I listen to like on repeat whenever I'm writing it.
Yes.
Because it gave me the visual for the first like scene.
Yeah.
So
Is it difficult to incorporate like music into like your film? Because
it is.
Because you gotta pick.
It's very
I
difficult.
feel like you have to pick like really the right song to like.
Yeah, to
capture
write
the
to.
scene.
There's a track from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Ecstasy of Gold, which is
Yeah.
the build up and the final conclusion of the spoiler alert. It's been out for a long time. But it's honestly like this movie. It's a long movie, but it's this build up that takes the whole film basically to the three characters. You know, the good played by Clint Eastwood, and the two other actors, I forgot their names, but the Bad and the Ugly, and they finally have the final showdown, which is also like the very it's a very very standard like everyone like shots to the
Mexican
shots
standoff,
to the,
yeah.
you know, like Mexican. It's a Mexican standoff thing, and but it's so, in a way, it's so corny, but it's really great. It's like really cliche, and but the way that the soundtrack builds up to it and everything, it's just really inspirational to a degree to write about. So I mean, that was sort of my creative process, was just like that spring break was I sat down, I watched Sergio Leone, I analyzed as much as I could from the script without even reading it, just like watching, like, and kind of visualizing what the script would have said, you know, when Clint Eastwood's character, you know, gives his name's Tuco, gives Tuco the unloaded gun for the Mexican standoff they have. You know, like the visualization of just like how the scene direction is. Because for me, it's not very difficult to write dialogue. Like Cole and I have talked about this a lot. And Cole's one of our friends who also wants to move into the film industry. But Cole and I talk about this a lot, where it's like he said that, like, it's gonna be very hard for him ever direct a film that I wrote, because I'm very much dialogue oriented. I tend to talk a lot.
And Cole is not.
And Cole is very much a visual, and so it's sort of me trying to find a balance as a writer, honestly, because it's hard to. It really is honestly hard to write out the action scenes, because you have to give enough information to provide what you're visualizing, but not so much that it can cripple the director's vision of what the film is.
Yeah, because I've seen scripts, and I mean, it's a lot of, I feel like when I just, like, they'll play, like, a script, and then they'll have, like, the movie, like, side by side, and
Sure.
you'll just see, like, almost, like, the amount of brevity there is in
Yeah.
a scene, and how well, like, the actor, and, like, especially, like, what the director's vision is, and how they're able to portray that. I mean, like, you could talk, like, I saw the script for The Wolf of Wall Street, and it's a scene where, Leonardo DiCaprio's fucking crawling to his car, right? And it's just like this, like this, like, weird, crazy, like, long drawn out scene, like, just dramatic. It's funny, you know, but, like, you know, but the script just says he's crawling to his car. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
and it's honestly, it's really hard, because you feel like, as a script, and I've run into this problem so often, you feel like a script needs to be like my first script was 120 pages. It feels like you feel like your script needs to be 120 pages, when honestly, for like a really good example, there's a film called A Ghost Story.
That's a good movie.
It's a really great film. It had Casey Affleck in it, and she was from. It was the main lead from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I forgot her name. But she's.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. She's in it. She plays his like wife, sort of, and then it's about basically a character who tragically passes away, and it's like. It's really this. There is no dialogue in the film. All right, I think there might be a total of like 20 lines of dialogue, which is very very short. And I think the main characters share like maybe 5 lines of dialogue apiece, and then the rest of the side characters have dialogue. So it's sort of it's really a film that's like relies visually and more of which relies on the lack of words to deliver impact. And as a screenwriter, it is so difficult to write that, because I have a hard time, because I want to write it like how a novel would, where he grabs the blue cup, like even something that's like simple like that, you know, it's like you shouldn't even be saying that, you shouldn't be pointing out the cup is blue, you could say he grabs the cup to drink, like alcohol, you don't even say alcohol,
or even
you know,
just be like cup,
right? you're literally like action cup, like it's, but like honestly, like I think it's interesting, because I write lyrics as well, and being a lyricist is, I've honestly found it's easier to write lyrics than it is to write screenplay, because with screenplay you have to, as a screenwriter, it's very difficult, because you have to have complete trust in the director, and the director will see through your vision, and also be able to carry their own vision with it, and not have those muddied, which is why a lot of films can sometimes fall short, is because the director and the the screenplay, you know, like they have just like there's a conflict between it. If you look at like, I guess this is probably the last I'll talk about it, but if you look at like Christopher Nolan, like most of his films, good majority, honestly, I'd say all of his films are always in some way a masterpiece. There's always something that's great about it. And if you look at Quentin Tarantino as well, the difference between them is Christopher Nolan typically only directs the scripts that someone he trusts to write, which is his brother Jonathan Nolan. His brother wrote the script for Interstellar. His brother wrote everything.
Those are great movies, man.
And it was, and if you look at the act, like I read through that script. That script has a lot of, description in the dialogue because his brother came to him with what he has a scene for, and because Christopher Nolan came to Jonathan Nolan with a scene he had, and Jonathan Nolan was able to basically birth this what he knew his brother was going to like.
Tag team.
Exactly, and then you look at Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino writes his films. He does not direct a film he hasn't written yet. I'm pretty sure. Like, don't quote me on it, but I'm almost pretty certain.
No, I think
out of
pretty
the
sure
9
all
films,
of his
out of the 9 films he's directed, they've all been ones that he's written, and he's written for other films, but he only directs stuff that he writes because
he only trusts himself.
Yeah,
which makes sense.
And honestly, I think that's the best way to go about film, which is why I've considered becoming a director. But it's, that's just a harder. That's a really hard area to get into. Yeah. Screenwriting, in terms of background and like in terms of like trying to get high wages in terms of that, screenwriting is probably one of the easiest to get into because if you just submit your script well enough and circulate your name well enough, I mean, at some point a production company will pick you up, and you can, at that point, depending on how much they want your script, they'll offer you anything from $50K to beyond that. So it's
just backtrack a little bit. You were talking about like those aha moments you're having when you're
I was actually going to ask because like I want to know because we all do so much different stuff. Like I want to know everyone's like creative process because I think as an artist that's like super important.
Yeah, I mean, me and Ethan, we have a group called 12C.
Right.
And Dustin, don't leave Dustin
Ethan will
out.
drop some bars and help, and like I'll produce. Ethan does produce some pretty dope tracks. He helps assist, and like he'll just see me like. He'll just be like, bro, I just don't even want to get in your space right now because he'll just see like how like focused I'm at the computer. Then all of a sudden I'll just be like, fucking like spazzing, you know what I mean? Like, holy shit, that was so dope. And he's just let him be. Let him be. Like, won't even say a word. Like I almost want people to celebrate with me, but like I understand like those moments are so great because you just realize like like it's like that just that light going off, And
it's I think for me my creative process has become very different because I do my best work alone in terms of like writing or even producing music, but like it's hard. Like for me, like the being in the music duo with Aaron has definitely provided me a new form of being like it's like I can actually produce beats with him around and like I'm totally comfortable and I'm more of like in the zone. But it's also like honestly like everyone has their own processes. But, like the most time I spend in here, I'm honestly quiet most of the time because he's working on his stuff and. I'll provide I'll provide lyrics or whatever for it that I can, or I'll provide an input or an idea if he asks for it. But it's.
I mean, I wouldn't say like you're a pretty good partner for the most part.
Thanks, man.
That was super cute.
Thanks, man. Hey, homie, dab me up for that one.
Because honestly, like because I didn't come from like I'm not sure like how deep your music roots are, but like I didn't come from like a very musical background when I started making beats. I just like enjoyed the art of it, so I just said I wanted to make it. So like. Where my faults lie, Ethan can help fill, and that's just awesome because like I'm trying to put this like slapping 808 bass just on this track, and I'm just like I just don't know what it is, and I'll just be like Ethan, I just need you to come through, and then he'll just lay this sick track, and it's just it's dope, and then even just seeing like your production, like Ethan has this beat called Kids, and sick.
Yeah,
it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. So, what about
awesome,
like
man.
you and Dustin, Joseph? Like, what do you?
Because you laid down a really really sick solo,
and that was just like impromptu. That wasn't like written out. That was just like
you didn't even tell we wanted you to do that until like that day. So like,
what's my
what do you do?
Like, especially in like that situation where just two people are like, "Yo, lay down something. We're gonna record it and we're gonna put it in a song." Like, when someone does that, or like when you just sit down and play the guitar, like what's your thought process? Like how do you get to that aha moment? Like what do you do?
It's gonna sound corny, but like with that beat, like everyone feels something when they heard that beat.
Yeah.
So I like practiced my scales so much and learned so many like licks that it's just I don't like think about what I'm gonna play. It just comes out of me when I hear the beat, and I'm like, I need to play this and do this, and then. Sure. It's like expressing yourself through words, but through music. It sounds like a really corny, like, I'm in liberal arts thing, but it's it's like...
I mean, it's true, man, like...
But I think the corniest answers are typically the true answers, because everyone's like,
I mean, that's why they're corny. They're
Right.
saying so much, you know. Like,
Right.
It's when I'm in the creative zone, like you'll just have these like, especially like call it like beat block or something, like writer's block. It'll just be like, damn, I can't like crank out anything.
Right.
Like it's just like every idea I have in my mind is just not being like, doesn't have results. And I try, like Ethan was telling me last night to try, like, just don't even worry about the equipment, man, because sometimes I'll get into that mentality, like, oh man, maybe it's just a shit I don't
absolutely
have.
get into that mentality.
Yeah, maybe it's the shit I don't have, right? But then I've literally seen a dude take like a Coca-Cola can, sample that shit, and make the craziest shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can literally, like, with this, like, a computer, you can do literally anything.
Yeah.
So I try to, like, get out of that mind state and try to just, you know, just keep pushing until something, like, I mean, sometimes it's really just throwing shit out the wall until it works.
And well,
I think there was this one quote from, I think, John Mayer or Brendan Urie. They said...
Those are two very different
Yeah.
people.
They're like...
One of them.
They said, you're gonna... Most of the time when you make music, it's gonna be you trying to sound like your idols, but you'll never be your idols, so it'll just be you trying to be your idols, but it comes through you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you're gonna listen to something, you're gonna be very influenced by it.
Right.
And your music.
Yo, it's hard, man. Like, I try not to be influenced. Like, sometimes, like, I would just be like, okay, before I start, I can't listen to anything in the morning. Because anything, like, I just don't want to be influenced. But sometimes it's really difficult because, like, especially, like, the people I look up to. Like,
Sure.
when I listen to, like J. Cole's production, which I just enjoy because I feel like he has really, like, very smooth, soulful. And he makes his own beats, too. Like, the high power beat on Kendrick's Section 80 album was sick, you know, it was awesome. I would never expect that from artists of him, like him, because it's just like you don't see too many like rapper producers who are at his level necessarily. You know, they usually get almost boxed in into one. You know, like you know, or like, I mean, we could say like Kanye, but that's a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kanye's on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Is it hard to like make your own beat, not trying to like copy somebody else's?
Yeah.
Especially with...
Very.
I see, yeah, because like beats, you're like listening
Very.
to other people's like creations,
Yeah.
but then like you're listening and then like you try to create your own, but it sounds exactly like theirs.
It's
kind
give
of.
and take,
Yeah.
man. Because how I learned is because I was literally just watching people make beats. You know, like
Sure.
before I even like really like got into it, I would just spend literally just hours like wherever on YouTube just watching these dudes make beats, and I'm just like, I almost felt like I understood the program before I even got into it because I've seen them like, okay, they gotta do this, this, and that to get here. Like, yo, I mean, especially in this like this age of hip hop, like when you got a lot of trap music, and I can't fault trap music because there's a lot of good trap music.
There
you know,
is.
like there really is like a lot of great production out there. You know, I mean, it's not all just hi hats and fat 808s. You know, some people really lay down really great samples.
I think
and
it's
melodies.
the lyrics that kind of fuck me up on it.
It just depends because I feel like it's kind of give and take. It's give and take with that too because you see like older hip hop. You say I feel like the production's kind of minimal a bit.
Yeah.
Like especially
Yeah.
you know it's very minimal. So when you're having like Biggie Smalls spit like these crazy lyrics about like the 10 crack commandments over like this very like just like I wouldn't say shallow beat, just minimal, simple.
Yeah,
beat.
right.
It's easier, but when you're having like especially these new producers who have access to all like Omnisphere and the Nexuses and like all these different plugins that allow them to have like all these access to these instruments, they're laying down these melodies that they could never do on an actual piano. You know what I mean? And it's like they're so like just grand and big that I feel like when the rapper actually gets to it, you can only say so much because there's already so much going on.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So I mean. It just depends. I mean, music's music. I mean, at the end of the day, you just gotta make what you like and make what you want. And if you have a vision for it, don't let anything just get in the way of it. Just do it, man.
That was something I was thinking about when you guys were talking about like obviously like creative process and stuff, but like what you were talking about the John Mayer whoever quote.
Someone said it.
Brendan Mayer quote.
John
Erie quote. Yeah.
John Mayer,
John Mayer,
John Mayer and his foil, Brendan Urie, their quote, like that quote or whatever. And I think it's also being influenced by what's going on around you. I mean, like, honestly, like the kids beat that I made, I don't think like 2 months ago I'd been able to make something like that. But like being in the studio and then also like listening to more hip hop to get more ideas, you know. I think there's a fine balance between trying to be your idols and then taking what your idols have done and making it your own.
Yeah.
And you know, like that beat, I definitely had a lot of inspiration from like "Runaway" by Kanye, and
yeah, no, I definitely hear that.
Tells,
you know,
especially
there's definitely
when you get to the last guitar riff. That was
the last part in it where, you know, like there's this huge drop and everything. It's like I got a lot of inspiration, but I also wanted to make it my own in a way, you know, and so I think that there's a fine line. I think that's what differs, like, someone who's in the garage making like a you know, excuse the words for it, but like a really shitty mixtape versus, you know, like someone out here who's like trying to do something that like underground artists don't do typically, you know, and it's really a process of taking what you love and then redoing that, because I made that whole beat on GarageBand. I
not GarageBand on the computer.
No, on my phone. I didn't even I didn't sample anything. It's all stock sounds, and it was just because I had an idea. And so I think that was like, I think that creative process, just like the idea of it is not so much becoming your idols or wanting to become your idols, but it's more of taking what your idols have done and then creating it to be your own.
I even think it could be like, don't even look up to your idols, look up to yourself. Look at yourself.
I want to actually get back to that, because there's a great Matthew McConaughey quote, but I don't want to get a lot, because I have this thought, because like, remember when I want to do that floating picture?
Yes,
that was because I saw one person do it. I'm like, that looks really cool, but I could never reproduce it, and I think I finally figured out why. Because like, I've been going to these the Hive stuff, and the Hive is just this amazing group in Vegas as well.
Definitely check them out.
They're awesome. They do these like kickback events. You know, they bring food and they have like artists, just of any genre. They just let them perform.
Every Saturday night.
It's amazing. If you are in the Vegas area,
you're like, it's not even a shameless.
They're
plug.
going to be plugged in the description.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because we support Vegas art no matter what, man.
They're amazing, and I've been talking because I met this one girl who's a photographer, and Rain, and she's awesome. It's Rain. Yeah. She's awesome, and her whole thing is she likes flash photography, and that's something I'm just barely getting into, and her stuff is just so much better than mine, and it's just about finding your own thing, and I think like, because like my idols in photography are the pretty generic ones. It's like Peter McKinnon, Brandon Wolfel, you know, like anyone on Nat Geo basically, right? And I try to replicate that so much, but then I lose track of what I really want to do, and then I got these like amazing pictures in Santa Monica. And I think that like that's, since I've started doing that, I've found like what I like to do just from talking to so many different artists of any genre. Like,
I mean,
we talked to an animator for like the entire party, and we went and got Wingstop with them, and it was like Patrick. And it's like,
oh really?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, and really one of the best conversations I've ever had.
Yo, I mean, that's true, because I think you know yourself well. You know, like at the end, like you wake up, you go to sleep knowing like who you are at the end of the day, right? So when you make something and it comes out, you know if it's true to yourself or not. Like you know, like it might be good, you know what I mean? It might slap, but you'll know if it's genuine to yourself, because I mean that's where I started off making just trap beats, you know what I mean?
Just because that's what's popular.
Like maybe not even like I do enjoy it, but it's just at like some point that was just like, damn, like I'm just not even feeling this. This is something I want to make something better than this, you know.
And just on like an analytical side, I think we were talking about this last night, but like trap beats are very, very rudimentary, you know. Like it's very it's very rigid, you know. There's not a whole lot of movement with it. I think that's what differs. You know, that's what differs music. My personal taste in music versus like, you know, it's like one of the reasons why I love like Bob Dylan so much. Bob Dylan's is so like, if you just listen not even his live performances, his studio recordings,
they're insane. They're so much fun.
They seem like so much fun, but a lot of times he, like, you know, he'll be singing his lyrics and then suddenly, you know, like he'll just stop and he'll just keep going, but like with a weird flow suddenly, like out of nowhere, and it's sort of this thing where I think that art is meant. And this is like, obviously it's always an opinion, it's very subjective, but to me art has always been meant to be something that's it's not rudimentary and it's not like everything else, you know. Art is very, very personal to you. Like, I mean, honestly, like the only reason like you guys ever heard Kids is because it's the first beat I've ever made that I'm proud of, genuinely proud of, because I you know, because of how it makes me feel when I listen to it, and the, you know, what I wrote about it and everything like that, and you know, because it's, I mean, like, even the lyrics, like, the lyrics I sent you, I scrapped those.
Really? Like,
I
the
have
entire thing?
Entire thing. I have only kept the chorus, and, like, I completely...
The chorus was good. I like the chorus.
Completely rewrote it. I mean, he's the only guy who's seen the new lyrics. I completely rewrote it.
Send them over to me.
I will.
Dude, like, what is your creative process,
Yeah.
man?
Like my creative process, like I see all you guys talking about like how like this one thing sparked it, but like it's more just me just like growing at a time, because like my whole family's just like grown up singing. Like I said, like my cousin does opera and my mom, we sing at the church, and like it's just me just like getting up. It's just me like growing up in that singing community. Am I too loud?
No, I don't even think it's picking up.
No.
Oh.
Is your mic on?
You're looking at number 3.
I'm looking at number 4 right now.
Yep. Is your mic flicked on?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it wasn't picking up. It wasn't letting up.
Just pick the.
Okay.
You're
one more sing clap.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Justin, what's your creative process, man?
I forgot.
Because I mean, we've gone around the circle.
Kind of.
Circle.
It's just me and Joseph that's left.
Line.
Yeah. So like your creative process.
Like my creative process, just like every time when I go like to like sing, I just feel the song. Like I just take everything out of my mind and I just feel it. Like
so corny.
Who
says stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like I know everything saying like is corny right now, but like it's the truth. It's like
No,
facts
definitely.
You said you have that church influence, so like
Singing about Jesus.
Yeah, because I've actually never heard you sing outside of like school choir.
yeah, like nobody's.
I don't think any of us have.
do you feel like do you have like are you religious? I mean,
Asking the big questions here.
I mean, I'm more or less because I would hear a lot of people who come from like church backgrounds, and when they sing, they feel that they almost feel like God's singing through them through the song. So I'm just curious a bit, like.
I just feel like whenever I'm singing, like I'm trying to find my voice.
Yeah.
Because like you always hear like people sing, you always hear like, not like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. You always hear them sing.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to like mimic their voice, but you have to find your voice. Because when you sing their songs, you're not singing for them. You're singing for you. You got to sing about you. You're singing for the lyrics.
That's the thing about that's the thing about singing too. It's just such a different field than like rapping because singing, someone can hand you the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like kind of how we said, like you got like the screenplay and then the director's vision. It's like you hand someone the song, now it's the singer's job to like execute it how it's right. And the voice is the instrument versus like hip hop where you're like write your own lyrics and express your words through there. Probably because you can't sing.
Well, because like yeah, which is interesting because like I've also wanted to sing, but it's also like I've just like been rapping, with 12C for obviously. While I've been doing it, that's why I'm dropping that's where I drop most of my like song stuff is I just do rap, and so it's very interesting because like I would never be able to rap anything anyone gave me because when you're writing the lyrics, like you are finding the flow that you want, and like I think that's that's why
What's going on over there?
Jesus, that's why I enjoy it. That's why oh my god, that's why I enjoy like the rapping part so much because it's very much like
it's you.
Yeah, it's very much my flow, and like so, my flows it can be super inconsistent, and I jump syllables a lot, but it's like I just enjoy that.
It is a kind of
aspect of it.
Strange flow sometimes.
Yeah, like for me, like I listen to a lot of musical theater, because like their songs like it all tells a story, and I like songs that like tell a story, and so like sometimes I just like in my head I'm like, okay, let me see if I can sing this. And, like, sometimes it doesn't sound good. But, like, if you're feeling it, if you know you want to sing that, then you're just going to go all out for it. Mm-hmm. Like, that's all you got to do.
Sometimes I feel like it's even, like, the energy you bring to it.
Yeah.
Because Ethan, like, we were just talking about the beat Ethan was making. Yeah. And we're here, we're listening to it. And then all of a sudden, he just starts freestyling. I didn't even think it was a freestyle at first. I thought he wrote it. Because he brought, like, this, like, it just felt so passionate and energy. Like I just, I was blown away a little bit. I was just like, damn.
Ethan saying, "Yeah, I know, I'm good."
He's like, "No need to suck mine." He's like, "Call me Kendrick." I'm cool, Ethan. But it was just awesome seeing that because it's really not even what he was saying. Because I mean, he didn't say like that many words, but just how you express yourself was just awesome. Like, and that's what I want. I think that's why I enjoy. Like, I mean, in the hip hop community, there's a little divide right now because you would see like people won't call like producers, they'll call them beat makers. They're like you're not producing the song.
What's the difference?
They'll be like instead of actually I mean, you gotta be in, you feel? But so
my bad. We're not 12C.
My bad. I'm just
12C only, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. 12C. The only gang here. But
poor Dustin.
They'll see like 12C. I mean, you have like Quincy Jones, right? He's a music producer, you know. Yeah. Regardless of how much music he actually plays, he can actually like somehow put all these elements and put them together and create the song, arrange it, you know, even like probably some writing, and that's, you know, and you'll have like people who call themselves producers, and some will just say, nah, you just make the beat, you send it through, the artist does whatever, someone else, the engineer in the studio might be arranging that shit, you know what I mean? You actually you weren't physically there to actually make the song of what it is. You made the beat, which is not to say like you didn't do shit, but it's, you know, it's just, you know, it's a bit of divide, like what you would call yourself. So I think if I was to go by like kind of those standards, because I do see where they're coming from, you know, I do enjoy like the production standpoint of actually like saying like, okay, we need to put like we have to put these two on top of each other, and this is going to come in at this time, and then we need this person to come through. That's almost, I enjoy that a lot more, like actually the creation of like the song versus like actually making the beat necessarily. But that's just kind of my take on it. You feel?
So, last but not least.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like I'm kind of like the odd one out because everyone here is involved in music, and I like music, I listen to music, and that's as far as my artistry in music goes.
Yeah. That portrait mode, man.
Yeah, see, but I don't even do that. I'm kind of an out there photographer. I will use pretty much anything in my arsenal. Like, one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken was that lens ball one with the fairy lights behind it.
Yeah.
I think it's on Instagram.
Yeah,
we'll throw that on the screen. It's on my Instagram. But that's kind of like my favorite shot. But in terms of creative process, I kind of can't do anything unless I have people with me.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part about being a photographer, I think. Because, like, you guys, you could just sit down and if you're feeling it, you could just sit down and crank out a beat if you really want to, if you felt it.
You gotta like actually.
I have to actually,
things, you gotta get resources.
Like if I don't have Ethan specifically, because he's my typical go-to model.
Right.
If I don't have you specifically, I really can't shoot anything, because like my issue is I've been in Vegas for so long and doing photography in Vegas for so long. I mean, 3 years, but still, I've been here long enough that I've pretty much taken everything from Vegas that I can. And so I'm kind of just stuck in this, like, I can really only shoot food right now because there's not much else I can do.
Do you think the skill of a photographer though is it's like not have those elements a bit? Like I'm not trying to shoot you down necessarily, but do you think that in the future your lack of resources will be to your benefit because
no,
you're
absolutely.
able to use those, you know?
See, right now, because I'm such a new photographer, because people my age are doing it for years and years, longer than I have. Like the Rain that I was talking about earlier, she's been doing it for 8 years already, and she's 17, and I'm 18. I've started when I was like 16. You know.
Sure.
Yeah, man, that's always discouraging.
And it's just there's people. Yeah, it absolutely
I started
is.
when I was like 15. You know.
Right.
But I've seen people start when like I saw like Timberland's kid. It's like 5. Made one of the beats on Kendrick's album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so so there's just so much more that she knows than I know. Like I said before, she's getting into her whole thing is like flash photography, and I have done that maybe once before.
What is flash photography?
So you see, I can't even really explain it, but it's just like, you know, that huge.
Thinking, like, you use the flash.
I know.
Yeah,
like just a flash
that's kind of, but that's kind of like how you get like the shadow. Like your main goal is to get like, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it because I'm not a flash photographer, is to get the shadow effect that the like direct flash will make.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I see it in her pictures.
Yeah. And so that's not something I'm good at. That's not something I can do. And that's something I'm trying to learn right now because I just got the attachment that has
like,
kind of.
What do you see? That's
Here, I'll pull it up because I saw one that was really good. Not your Instagram. I don't care about your Instagram.
For real, I'm not that sexy.
Hey, man.
It was kind of like, because I'm pretty sure this was all flash. Like that light, that was all flash. And I'll throw this picture up on the screen. but this was like, I'm pretty sure that was all Flash, and I just really like the look that creates, and I just can't do that yet. I just don't know how. Yeah.
I like that one.
Is like Flash photography like the pictures that you see like when they're trying to like take pictures of like celebrities?
Kind of.
Like it's just all Flash.
Yeah, that's a little bit more of a. I mean, yeah, that's just like that's not like what she does.
Yeah.
Or what I want to do, but it's, yeah, kind of like that. But like when I sit down and because the main art comes from editing, like I can just take a picture right now, and that's a picture. I can post that, whatever. It's you're just looking at it, because like the main art that I create is from editing. Like the picture I got of Joseph when he was walking on the beach when he didn't even know I was taking the picture.
Still looking flawless out
Yeah, I'm
there.
trying to understand photography a little bit too, like kind of like, because I feel like I can, when you all talk, I have like some base knowledge. I'm like I can understand like what you mean by like the musical elements, but this is photography, different field completely. So like when a photographer gets like when they take a picture, would you say that they rather just use like the raw footage, like that's the picture I took?
So you
or
always
versus, like, or is there like kind of a divide between like, oh, like I edit my pictures to look like this, or
so
is it like, oh, you just throw filters on your shit? Like,
there's really not. So the editing, most professional photographers will do some base level editing no matter what, just if it's to fix some skin, like blemishes, whatever.
Yeah.
But the divide between editing and not editing isn't that big.
Yeah.
It's more like Lightroom versus Photoshop. And so, like, people, there's one picture out there, I can't remember the photographer. F-Stoppers did an amazing video on that. I'll link that in the description. But they had this huge moon that, by all accounts, it really isn't possible to get. And that's like a blood moon, and it's huge, and it's a beautiful shot. But everyone's debating, is that real photography? Like, at what point does it become graphic design versus photography?
Yeah. That's what I was kind of trying
And
to
I kind of don't agree with that at all. I think if you take the picture and you want to manipulate it, manipulate it. If that's what makes it look good for you, like, I edited out maybe 10 people off the picture I was talking about Joseph to get no one in the shot. And most people would be like, wow, that's an amazing picture.
It actually looks better without the people.
Yeah, and then but there's a picture with Aaron that I took with a bunch of people in the background that looks better because that's what Aaron is like. And that's kind of like the picture, but there's people out there that would be like, that's not real photography.
Sure.
That's you're graphic designing that versus actually capturing the moment. And I feel like that's in every art genre.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I think with
I was trying to
music,
relate it to me, and I think I kind of found a bit of an equivalency when producers sample.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sample,
So
some would say that's not real producing. You didn't make it.
because I think that's what's super damaging in the art world, especially, is that we just, it's my way or the wrong way.
right.
But
When it's, if you're creating something, why argue about that? And that's kind of what my creative process is. I just sit down, I put on my music. I don't listen to lyrics. I listen to like EDM stuff because that's what gets me into like the zone.
Sure.
And I sit there for days on end editing pictures. Like I will sit, if I took, like from Santa Monica, I got like 20 really good pictures. I sat for days on end editing all of them to get to where I want them, and I'm still not done because there's still so many colors I want to bring out.
Sure.
But that will mute others, and it's just like this balancing act, and that's.
Do you guys, just in general, whoever wants to speak on it can, but do you guys find that, like, the more ideas you get, like ideas produce ideas? Because I know, like, for me,
absolutely.
For me, it's like, I think,
Absolutely.
and Aaron and I have talked about this a lot, where Aaron and I have different styles producing beats, where he likes to get all the sounds and then lays them out. And then for me, I only can ever really, like, write a good, like, I can only make a good beat when I start from finish to end. Like, I start on a melody and then I'll add drums in, but like when I add the drums in, like, that's where they do come in. Like, I don't adjust it afterwards.
Right. Yeah. I definitely get that. Like, if you look at my Lightroom profile right now, you will see multiple copies of the same picture edited different ways. And most people, I'm pretty sure, at least that I've met in terms of photographers, they use presets on Lightroom just to make a quick edit and then make adjustments as needed. Like, I use the Peter McKinnon stuff and the Chris House stuff because I think their presets are amazing. and I just do little adjustments here and there. But when I scroll through them, because I have to like scroll through all of them to find which ones I like, I see a black and white shot that would look amazing with the picture.
Right.
But then also like this more warmer tone that looks good on the same picture. And so it's just like these, like how I want to edit it kind of just changes over time. Yeah. And so I just make multiple copies of the same picture.
Like living, breathing.
Yeah.
Because that's...
Yeah, absolutely. Like I go back and edit pictures I've taken 3 years ago because I'm like, this would look so much better if I just did that.
Because I've found that like when I'm making music and stuff, like when I'm making beats, I'm like, you know, I get a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, this is cool, and then I'm like, oh my god, like what if this happens and then this happens and then this leads to this, and like honestly, that's even the same with script writing, where I'm writing a character, or I'm like writing, you know, I'm writing through a scene, and then I'm like, what if this little subtle moment of imagery relates back to, you know, like 50 years in the future with this character, you know, like we flash forward or like something like that, and like and it almost becomes overwhelming in a way because, like, you know, I think to some degree it doesn't damage anything, but I think to some degree it can sometimes
dilute it.
It can dilute it, and I think it becomes too much. I think there are times when you get so many ideas. Like whenever I'm making a beat or whenever I'm writing a script, the ideas I have like my little journal. I actually brought it with me, but like I have like a little journal like I write in, and then I will write down the ideas as I'm getting them, so that if I feel like maybe this idea doesn't maybe belong in the song in the post, I have that idea.
I remember for like a day you used to text me because you're the same way I am. You do all your creative stuff super late or super early in the morning,
exactly.
However you want to say, after midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Our only sessions have really been like good ones at like at least 11.
Exactly. And so Ethan and I are kind of similar in that aspect. And I remember for like a day and a half, you just texted me your ideas like as you got them, just so you had them. And I was trying to sleep, and I said, "Ethan, stop." And you said, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah. No, I remember that. I remember being like, because I remember you not say that nice. You said if you keep texting me, I'm gonna block your number or whatever. But what happened was it had to be like 3 a.m. maybe, and I'm like, we talked about it like the day after, so we had to go to school after. But I remember I was trying to remember.
But they were great ideas.
They were. I think it was honestly for my script, but it was.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, you know, I was talking about like the character, and then like I remember he went to sleep, and that was like after I was done, and I'm like, oh my god, I just got this idea. I do the same thing with Cole too.
Well, I think Cole is more forgiving than I am.
Cole, I think Cole understands
our dynamic. Well, our dynamic isn't like you and Cole. You and Cole are actual friends. You and I are enemies that are forced to hang out with each other.
100%. Yeah.
It's like we've hung out with each other so many times that it's just like.
I mean, like I'm pretty sure
we've just been around each other. It's like
this podcast spawned from our government class. I remember. I'm pretty sure it was Ethan that came up with the idea. Maybe we should make a podcast. It's Ethan, that's stupid. Shut up. Yeah, and then here we are 2 months later, 3 months later, making a podcast.
We really just said, oh man, that was a good combo. Let's record
Right. But like, what about you guys though? Because like, I don't know, like with you when you're improvising, like if you achieve a certain like sound with the guitar, like does that inspire you to be like, oh, what if I do this with that sound, or like, you know?
There are definitely times to go overboard and like I could do all this, but I feel like sometimes simpler the better.
Yo,
sure.
That was actually that's so true. Like, because like you have to recognize too when you're making beats that this isn't just a piece of music you're making. You're giving this to somebody that has to add another element of their voice onto it, and it's like you'll realize you'll just make this full you'll make this beat and you're just like.
We even had that issue maybe like a week or so ago.
Yeah, we spent a long time on that beat
because we made this beat, and Dustin came in and gave us this really awesome guitar solo.
Thanks, man.
And hey, anytime.
Dustin, okay, I want to talk about this. Dustin was like the cutest little man that day because he's like
a little man.
He's taller than all of us.
I know. That's why I said it like that.
But he was like, I was not on time at all. Right. It was so bad. I'm so sorry.
What are you talking about?
When we listen back on it, like, if
it was
this
so subtle.
was
it
the
was
beat,
so subtle, yeah.
he was off by maybe like 2 millionths of a second.
Like, and that's just being like, that's just the human feel. Like,
Yeah.
a human being is
I
never
think
going
that's
to be
like-
perfectly on time.
I think it's a really
You're
good
talking to an
topic,
Asian
too.
guitarist, yo.
Oh my
okay.
God. I think it's a really good topic though.
If
Like,
you're really an Asian
Yeah,
guitarist,
because
you could pull that shit on a
I do that
calculator.
all the time.
Like-
Like you tell me all the time that, dude, that picture's good, and I say, no,
Right.
go fuck yourself.
Right.
It's terrible. It's
So-
the worst picture I've ever
Everyone's
taken.
their worst critic.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's really interesting. I think.
Does that ever stop you guys from like releasing stuff?
It
Oh
used to,
yeah.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
Oh yes.
Not
I know it does for you.
Oh my God.
See,
Not anymore. I used to be really like just like nervous about showing people my beats until they
Right.
until I was in like school. And I remember I walked in like I released it was you remember Magic Tones?
I do remember Magic
Magic
Tones
Tones
because I
was a
remember.
beat I made a while ago, and I remember like I walked into class, my teacher was listening to it. And I was like, how the fuck did you like? Where did you find this? You know, like
Right.
like you have like no connection through social media, and they're like, oh, some of the kids are playing it, and like I was like, and I just thought to myself, I had to be like my biggest like I had to be my biggest fan of it. So I just said,
Yeah.
Aaron, you're fucking cold.
Yeah,
man.
I
You're
remember
like,
that.
sick, yo.
like a few weeks ago. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
thank
You?
you.
Us three have been dominating the conversation.
Yeah, my
Please.
bad.
Yeah.
No, you guys are good. You guys are speaking. Let us speak. Anyways, what I was saying.
Before I was so rudely interrupted.
What I was saying, like, yeah, like, I am my worst critic because every time, like, if I'm not hitting that note right, like, I listen to myself, I'm like, get on that fucking note. Because it
Yeah.
sounds bad to me, and, like, I don't want to go out and perform for, like, 50, 100 people just, like, listening to me, hitting that note, and, like, if it sounds bad to me, I don't know what it's going to sound to, like, all these people.
Sure.
And that's why I don't like sing a lot in front of people because I don't know if it's gonna sound good or sound bad. But I know it's gonna sound bad always because that's what it's gonna sound like.
Right.
Because like I'm not warmed up. I'm just gonna like just shoot it. That's it.
With me, I have to like actually psych myself into putting stuff out there.
Yeah, I usually
Like I
do
will,
too, absolutely.
like when I sent you guys kids, but also just like when I was sending you guys my lyrics and stuff.
Were you worried that was gonna be a major asshole to you?
Not even because like I actually like honestly like I value you guys' opinions and stuff, and it was like, but I like honestly like I don't know if you guys have seen like Secret Life of Walter Mitty, but like when he psyched
Great
himself
movie.
up in the beginning, yeah, to send the message to like
What did you say?
Secret
he's-
Life of Walter Mitty.
Okay, you
When
said
he's-
super
I think
fast.
I
You
might
said
have watched
Secret
that
Life of
one.
Walter
I
Mitty.
remember
It
that
has
coming
Ben
out.
Stiller.
when he's
Yeah.
but he's
Yeah,
When he
yeah.
there's
travels
this
to, like,
scene.
I kind of remember.
Iceland or whatever.
There's this scene where he's psyching himself out to send this message to this girl in like eHarmony or something. And to me, honestly, no, honestly though,
no, it's the same. I think
it's the same with me
thing,
too.
yeah.
Because I'll have honestly.
Yeah,
like,
when he's
my
on Tinder,
lyrics.
it's so hard for him to send a message to her.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like,
I'm like-
Eli, how do I do it?
Yeah, no.
I mean, that was me until I just did it, and now
Shut up. So,
it's be working out.
God.
Sorry, Ethan. I just
It's
had
fine.
a
It's
joke.
fine. No, but like I.
Put this shit down.
Like it genuinely the way. Oh my god. The way that
He really just went on Tinder for a second.
this man. But like the way that it genuinely happens is like I have that shit just like copy pasted like into like the conversation. I'm like literally having to be like okay you can send this because like it honestly it's very especially with like especially with something like kids or especially with honestly any lyrics that I've ever written, you know, like I know like Aaron, I'm like constantly asking you like that's what you wanted on the beat because it's very much for me it's like you're putting a part of yourself out there, you know, and I think that's with all of our art, you know, like you're putting a part of yourself out there. It's very very nerve wracking because
Yeah,
you know
It really is.
I think like a lot of people talk about how like especially when they become bigger in terms of like just entertainment or whatever, talk about how you have to ignore the hate comments because it'll just eat you up inside.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah, people really get like rot.
Like I'm expecting a lot from this
Right.
just because of how janky it is.
Right, and like honestly, which is fine, but like we were talking about, I watched this like little interview thing that it was weird, but Rhett from like Good Mythical Morning did, and he
think I know
talks
what you're talking about.
because he actually
Man, I haven't seen
They
it
had-
so long, man.
They
Their
had to- they
channel
actually-
is amazing. I
they
love
yeah
it.
it really is, but like they had to take a break for a second because Rhett like legitimately became depressed because like he just kept looking at these comments and he's like honestly like you read like all these positive comments and you read this one bad one and it destroys everything.
The thing is about, especially on like YouTube
Uh-huh.
in general, no matter what you produce, it's always a very vocal minority
Yes.
that's going to be hating.
Exactly, yeah.
Like,
It's always so.
And it's
and some people really just call it kind of like clout chasing a bit. Like people just really like want to have that outlandish opinion and just like and even if they might not even believe it for themselves, that like let's say like someone was just like, Red, you're trash, you know, you're awful,
only to get clicks, to get Reddit points or whatever,
like,
you know.
Red might respond like, what the fuck, and he's like, oh, I'm your biggest fan, and it's just like,
I was just trying to get your attention. Why not say
like,
that?
But you just really just like ruin someone's mentality. And now I mean, they post like they were posting like every day.
Yeah, I think are they daily again?
No, they're like every. I think they maybe post like 3 times a week. Right?
Oh, that's still a lot.
Which is it's better, like,
especially for their production value. Yeah, that's a lot.
I think they went like a month without posting regularly, and then they've gone back to it. But it's, I don't know. I think it's just very much like, you know, it's like I am, especially the lyrics, and like you guys will see when I send it to you later. But like the lyrics that I have, it's probably some of the most personal shit I've ever written in my life. And so it's very, I mean, like
I want to read it.
He's it's just something that's like super personal to me. So it's definitely something that like I even get like emotional thinking about putting it out there, because like if I receive any negativity on it, it will most definitely hurt, because I'm just that kind of person. You know?
You know, because like a few weeks ago, I posted my Instagram story. Should I just delete all my pictures? Like the question was, should I delete all my pictures and restart my feed to make a more coherent feed? And there was like one yes, and that was from myself because I wanted to do it really bad, but everyone's like, no, don't do it. That emits the, like, one of my friends who's a photographer, Thomas, he said, no, dude, do not do that, because that admits, like, I can't say that word, that shows you're defeated. Don't do that. Do what you want.
Right.
And then like the next week, I work at a really popular restaurant, like for young people,
right?
And I had someone actually recognize me from my Instagram, like, I love your work.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I thought that was like the biggest thing. Like that's.
I feel so happy.
Yeah. I almost
like how
I almost broke down and cried because I'm like, because then I realized it doesn't matter what I post, as if I like it, other people will like it.
Right.
Like A Star Is Born. The whole thing is, if you don't have something to say, why say it? Like that was his whole thing.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like what I have to say is actually important, or what I have to show is actually important.
Yeah.
And that was like just like one of the best moments of my life.
Definitely, yeah.
Because like that was like the first person outside of my friends that were like, "That's a really good picture. Oh my god."
Like you didn't even know this man.
Yeah, I didn't know him, and then, the guy that was talking about, Patrick, the animator, Instagram DM'd me on the Instagram, and was like, "Hey, I have a gig that you might be able to do."
Right.
And I'm like, that's like, I think that's what we all work for. Like that's what you guys make beats for. It's to get recognized, and that's why you're making beats, to go to the Hive parties. Which is
another thing I wanted to talk about. I don't know about you, but I am incredibly nervous when we do that. There is, like, with live performance versus recording, so much that can happen.
Are you really doing that?
Yeah. No, we definitely are.
Do you know the date yet?
Yeah.
I sent them an email.
Okay.
We're gonna see what happens.
I saw on their Instagram story.
Email?
But yeah.
Email?
We
Dustin, this is a
sent a carrier.
business.
Hosted by the boomers.
we sent a carrier pigeon,
Dustin,
actually.
believe it or not, people still use email for business stuff.
Our
No, we should AOL out here.
AOL.
Hotmail out here.
Chat roulette.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling Ethan before. He's like, "Oh man, let's send him." Like Ethan was saying, "Let's send him all the finished." Yeah, we'll give ourselves like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, we've been going for a minute.
Yeah, like
I don't mean to cut you guys off.
No, you're
he was like, "Oh, let's send him the finished work." I was saying, Ethan, like before we like actually like do anything, let's just send him some of our beats, right? And let's like, and he's like, "Oh, let's just send him the finished work." It like he's like, because I felt like, and I'm not faulting you for it.
No,
but where I felt like it came from was a bit of like almost a bit of nervousness.
It
like,
was.
Yeah,
No, it really
like,
was.
Like, I don't know if
because
you're ready to put that out there. And I was just like, Ethan. At the end, I was like, Ethan, that shit was dope. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's just send him some. Like, let's just send him a little sample of what we got, so we can at least get like, you know,
Because
get
what I
the ball
really
rolling,
liked-
get the ball rolling in the video.
What I really liked was when I pulled up Instagram, because I go on Instagram like maybe twice a day just to go through the pictures and look at them, but then I also go through the stories. I went on the Hive story, and I saw Aaron's face out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hive, we're coming for you," and I love that.
yeah.
Is that a threat?
No, it was like,
Oh my god.
bro.
It's
coming.
we're coming. We're gonna blow it out the water, man. Oh my god.
I mean,
no, I love that, because I think in the art world, especially nowadays, you have to be super selfish. Like,
You do.
you can't be like, "Oh no, I'll do it for free. I'll do it for a few bucks." You have to be like, "No, I know my worth.
Like recently.
I'm gonna put my shit out there because
Right.
I want to, not because you're telling me not to." or you're telling me to. I want to do it, so I'm going to do it.
It's definitely like, and it's almost in a way where it's like you have to sort of mimic that just in your life, because if you don't for 1 second, you'll like lose that edge. But you have to. I mean, like the only like it's just the same thing where Kanye didn't send Jay-Z Jesus Walks,
and they're like, "You gonna send Jay-Z
Jesus
Walks?"
Right, exactly.
Crazy. But then that's just Jesus Walks now. That's Kanye's song.
That's Kanye's song, and I think it was kind of funny, but it's something that like I like to harp on a lot too, where it's if I don't see anybody else being on, like if I can't see myself being on a track that I make, I won't be able to see anybody else being on it. I was talking to him about this. It was when I first showed him Kids, and he goes like, "Who do you imagine being on it?" And I was just like, myself.
Me. Yeah.
Because
that was but he says like it was just so perfectly timed. It was cocky attitude,
but that's what you need in the art world. Like that's what I'm
that's
saying.
Right,
like now, because it's such a saturated field and everyone wants to do it because that's what's cool. It's like how everyone wanted to be a Minecraft YouTuber when it was in its heyday, you know?
Yeah.
Like I even took.
I know. I tried.
It's a second golden age. I certainly tried. I think the most I got was like 50 subs, and I was like, oh my god, I'm basically Captain Sparkles now.
Evan Healy, Jacob Jolly, if you're listening to this, hit me up, bros. I miss you.
But I mean, it's like, but now it's such an oversaturated market, and we all want to do it. But I think this group in particular, we're all super just like driven to do it, and we're all like, I'm gonna do it, or I'm gonna die trying.
Yeah, no.
I'd rather starve at 45, than not do this. You know.
Ethan, I was like, man, I said, if someone just offered me like $100 a week to work at a studio and to quit my job, I would do it. And he's like, you can't live off that. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, I was talking, because one of the things was I was talking to my parents about it, and it was me basically telling them like, I'd rather be homeless than not go and pursue my dreams. You know?
I had this really like, it was like just before our first studio session where like all of us were here, or it was like maybe it was just us three.
Sure.
And I had to leave early for something. And my mom and her boyfriend and I were talking, and they're like, we were talking about presidential odds. I'm not going to get into that, but they're like, I'm super into politics, or I was, and they're like, you'd be brilliant in political science. Why aren't you doing that? I'm like, because I don't want to end up at a job where I'm just going to end up blowing my brains out because I hate it. I'd rather at least know that I tried to get in photography and try to get into videography and travel, vlogging and photography, whatever, than know that I just settled for political science because that's what I'm good at, and I didn't even try to do what I want to do.
Like, not even on a joking level, I would legitimately probably kill myself if I ended up to a 9-to-5 office job. If I honestly though, like if I had to go, like let's just say like a hypothetical, I have to go to like I get my business degree, but I'm basically just a salesman, like glorified salesman, and I go to my office every day, 9 to 5, except for Sunday. Afterwards, I go home. And I like watch TV, fall asleep.
I watch the Sunday night football.
And I repeat that every single day. I would want to kill myself. I honestly probably would, because it's just like there is so much more to life than just like that's another thing that I feel like is a generational difference, because in this generation we've found there's so many more people going for what they want to be doing, and like people like even like baby boomers, like that generation was so much like just
this
just
is
thrive,
your American
just
dream,
like get a job, right?
But that's the American dream is in air quotes, because that wasn't the American dream for most everyone.
Yeah, the American dream is.
I doubt that everyone in that generation is like, you know what I want to do in my life? I want to get 9 to 5, make minimal money that I can live off of, have a family, and that's it.
And honestly, like, if there are people who want that, good for you. Like for me, it's...
I'm not dogging that. That's a great lifestyle if that's what you want. But for me personally, if I can't just on the drop of a hat say, I'm going to fly to San Francisco to take pictures, I would kill myself, because that's what I want to do. I want to be able to just go tell a story through pictures and travel around the world.
Yeah, I have to know at least try it. You know, like, I gave it my 100%. Because right now, I don't feel like I'm like at 100%. Yeah, like I feel like with just the start of this, I feel like we're all just very like we're in the zone.
We're getting 100%.
And I feel like this is the start of something that could be really great.
It's like we started out this podcast. This is kind of like what I want like end it on, because this is like what this podcast is about. But this podcast started out with 5 people in an AP government class, and a teacher who made a final exam study guide that's called the Cram Jam, and we said, wow, that'd be an amazing podcast title. But then it evolved, and then within like 2 months we had like a 10-year plan made up. And then I spent like 4 hours working on what I want, or what we all like. I haven't talked to you yet about it, but I want to show you it. But like what we should, but like we started working on this thing where we're like, this is what we want to do. Like this is how we want to operate.
We just don't want to, and also too, I really just hope like distance just doesn't affect us at all.
No.
You know what I mean? Like we're not too far. I mean we're gonna be it's gonna be a challenge, you know, because I don't feel like a lot of people really have to go through this, so just this back and forth, just, you know, just especially like, I mean, I can't fault you two. I mean, this is what you guys wanted to do.
Yeah,
we're all trying to do what we want to do.
Well, and I mean, I know I'm already making plans where like I'm gonna be in Vegas at least once a month to be working in the studio with you, and then also perform at Hive. So, you know, or perform not just at Hive, but anywhere, any gig we can get that will let us play our hip hop. You know, I want to do all of that, like, and I definitely understand people are like, oh my god, once a month at least making that drive.
But it's only 4 hours. People do that all the time.
It's not even long distance. It's just like, honestly, like it's just a commute to me. Like, because at the end of the day, I could go work whatever, you know, like right now I work at fast food or like fast food restaurant joint thing. If I could go like, and even in college I'm working at fast food. So either way, it's like, no matter what my job is, music and screenwriting will always be my job. Right. To me.
And it's like, I think what we all kind of want to end up doing with this is not necessarily have us make the content, but get a space where everyone can make content, like no matter what your art style is.
Totally.
Like, I joked we should get a space in Nebraska, but
I'm not doing that.
No, I wouldn't want to do Nebraska either. I was
sooner drop dead than
Yeah.
no offense, Nebraska.
But come on.
Yeah, a little sketch.
But like my point with that whole thing was I want to be able to do like Casey Neistat doing that 368 thing. I think I haven't followed up on that or looked at it recently, but he just bought out a space in New York or rented out a space where it has like a gaming lounge, a kitchen, like just everything that YouTubers need to create stuff that you can just rent out from him for a few days to create something. And I kind of want to do that. But it's just like you can't just do that. You can't just make that happen. Mm-hmm. You actually have to work at it. And I think that's why we're all so good together is because we all are very stubborn ass people and will not take no for an answer. Yeah. Like if I say don't make music, you'll say go fuck yourself.
Right.
And
you told me, I remember you told me once, Ethan, you can't rap, but here I am.
Well, I still hold true to that. You may prove me wrong. That's why I say it. That's why I say it. Just want you to prove me wrong.
Right. Well, and honestly,
I think this might be a good note to end on.
Yeah. We're
kind of past our mark a little bit.
We are we've been going for like an hour and a half now.
So,
damn. I do want to wrap it up with one thing though. And just like
you have 30 seconds, go.
I want everyone to say what their end game is. Just like
end of
the day, retrieve the stones.
What a great movie. Let's just go starting from Ethan and go counterclockwise.
Okay.
We'll do that all the time.
Okay. All right. So I think for me it's like obviously end game is to become an artist. No, yeah, well that too. Save the multiverse. Actually create it probably. That's really
anyways.
Side note. But the end game is to just like obviously become a well-renowned artist, break the glass ceilings within that. But like when I retire and shit, I want to be able to make like a cafe, like where I just do music cafe.
We had that idea.
Yeah, and that's always been an idea. But it's like a cafe at day, and then it moonlights as a jazz like club, you know, or not even jazz club, but like a club where
I've seen that plot somewhere.
Well, you know, La La Land, but a club where like people like let's say he was still making music, but like let's say like Childish Gambino wants to come in and like perform like some just like random ass songs he wants to perform, he can. Like where well-renowned artists can just go and do like a live performance, and sort of like you can still retain that vibe. I don't know, but that's like honestly my end game is just becoming as successful as I want to be in my field. You know, making 12C a multi-Grammy winning,
Let's just
platinum
why
nominated.
Grammy? Why not just go for Oscar? Just win Best Actor in Music.
Exactly.
Break the glass ceiling.
Best motion picture, 12C's coming for you. All right.
All right, Dustin, what's your end game?
I don't know, but I'm gonna pull a John Lennon and say to be happy, and that is not
Damn.
being corny.
I like
that is
that.
true.
I
Damn.
like that.
Short and sweet. Here you go.
It's a Bob Marley vibe. I like that.
That's more of a John Lennon vibe, actually.
both.
Yeah, because it's from John Lennon.
Yeah.
All right, shut up. I get it. All right, shut up. I get it. I'm stupid. I get it. I understand. All right. Fuck me, right? Just fucking.
What about you, Jesse?
Okay, that was funny. But like, well, my end game, like, I actually want to like start a singing career for the future. Probably like get fluent in Japanese and probably start a singing career there.
Ooh.
So wait, you want to just like
That'd be awesome.
you're just gonna
I
go
like
straight J-pop? Is that what you're thinking?
Dude, they have.
Damn.
Jaw pop.
That's
Okay.
called
Japanese
Bob Marley.
American pop.
That's called Bob Marley. I'm pretty sure.
That's definitely
Jaw
not
pop.
Jaw pop.
On
Jaw.
Jaw.
On jaw.
Endgame, honestly, I kind of want to just be able to travel around and take pictures. Maybe not necessarily make money off of that, but I want to be able to just have the opportunity to be able to just go wherever I want and take pictures.
I want to go with you.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's like my realistic in quotes, but my unrealistic dream, I want to be the first vlogger in space.
First Jewish vlogger.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
Do it.
I'm not Jewish, but same difference. We're not gonna get into that. But no, I kind of want to start out my vlogging stuff, which we're gonna do in like 3 days, 2 days.
Yeah,
But I want to be the first vlogger in space, and I think I could make that happen.
definitely.
Cute. Next.
Aaron. What's up,
And,
Aaron?
yeah.
Well,
Save the best for
I do
last.
wanna
Bring
make-
it home.
I do want to make a lot of money, to be honest.
I think we all do.
I want to blow up and act like
I
I don't know
don't.
nobody.
But I think my goal is, I think my goal is just to create one of the greatest just artist platform ever, and just be able to put young artists on and produce music. And,
Initiated entertainment.
yeah, I mean, we'll plug all the Instagrams.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Definitely.
I'll put all that in the description. Don't worry.
I mean, we got the Freedom Initiated brand. We have the Initiated Media Group.
Freedom initiated. Wait, whoa, I never learned about that.
and,
You need to tell me about that later.
And I think the
called
goal
Sia
is
here.
just to make a media outlet just for young artists. I feel like we've had some, but they slowly just diluted and just
Definitely.
lost the spark. And I just want to keep just art alive, and just doesn't have to be rappers or hip hop or just music. It could be just want to put everyone on and just be able just to support the youngins, and
The youngins, as if we're not youngins ourselves.
I mean, one day, that's the thing though. Like,
One day
we're
we'll be
not.
saying the young
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. Yeah, that's weird,
I
isn't it?
want I not necessarily the fame, but I want to be like that's the dude. He helped us bring us.
Kind of
to
like
this
Dr.
level.
Dre was.
Yeah, I mean Dr. Dre was so dope. But
Yeah.
that's another story. And just be an entrepreneur, make money for myself, and just at the end of the day, be happy, because I think that's what's
As Bob Marley once said, I want to be happy.
John Lennon, Brendan Urie, John Mayer.
Bob Marley.
John.
You know, Jesus Christ. Somebody.
Someone said, "Let's be happy."
Right.
Well, my phone might be dead.
So,
Oh, you're right, though.
should we wrap this up?
No, yeah. So that was Cram Jam episode 1.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, links will be in the description. Instagram, Twitter, anything we talked about. There'll be timestamps. It'll be great. We should probably talk about upload schedule.
We'll release a video with that, but remember to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
I
Hope
feel
you
weird
like
saying
that.
that, but like and
Ethan-
subscribe.
Ethan and I will be doing a short episode in a few days in Boston. Stay tuned for
tuned.
that.
Boston.
Yeah,
Boston.
Boston.
The Pats.
But other than that, yeah, thanks
Tam Brady.
for everyone who stuck around for however long we did it.
Oh god.
Like, subscribe, check out our Instagrams. If you have art that you want to show off, we'll always
Oh,
be happy. Yeah,
Submit it.
Submit it.
This video will be uploaded on the Initiated Media Group, Freedom Initiated.
And
brand
stay
website
tuned, because
and
in
the
10
Cram
minutes
Jam
we're going to do
YouTube
the Cram
page.
Jam after show where we interview
And have sex.
each other.
Oh.
No.
I didn't know about that one, but I'm saying
Actually, I do have
sure.
I do have one more piece of news. We do have a guest lined up. I'm talking to him right now. You guys may know him. I know Ethan probably does. Alex Patho.
Okay,
He's coming
yeah.
on soon.
Awesome.
Probably like the week that like before we leave.
Okay.
I need to talk to him again, but that's gonna be our first guest.
Sure. All right.
So
first guest will be on the show, and we might have some new additions too.
Maybe.
Cram Jam. Good night.